Thank you very much, fellow Africans, and welcome to this episode of the Change for African campaign. And so, fellow Africans, being on Wednesday is all about our third pillar of the Change for African campaign, which discusses or which we tackle things with the resources. Our third pillar of the Change for African campaign, it's all about the African resources. Imagine, I don't, maybe you might not know what Africa holds in terms of its resources and equated to the global percentage of resources. So Africa has a very huge say when it comes to the natural resources and even the human resource. We have a lot of it. Especially the young population, which is a very strong workforce, that is a very huge human resource. And so, fellow Africans, today I'll be tackling a goal. It's all about under goal number 12, which is all about the responsible consumption and production, and specifically on target 12.2, which is about achieving a sustainable management and an efficient use of natural resources. Natural resources, of course, all the things with the water sources, the minerals, and all these things. So that is an aspiration that by 2030 they should have the sustainable, and the responsible consumption and production, which should be more so sustainable. And so, fellow Africans, I'm very privileged to present to you that, because looking at the sustainability part of it, of our resources, most of these resources have been taken to advantage, whereby they have been destroyed. Resources are being misused in Africa, and sometimes not even African themselves, but we have some external forces that come in Africa to interfere with the very coveted global resources which are in Africa, which are domiciled in Africa, and we have immense of them. So this is an obligatory concern, and it's also a wake-up call that Africans now should stand up and take their position, because remember, I'm dealing with a UNSDG goal number 12 about responsible consumption and production, whereby the sustainable management and efficient use of these resources as by 2030 this is a global declaration or a global aspiration or ambition. But then we speak this in the African context. Let us see now, when we try to equate this to the African style of things and the present things or how they're happening, where is Africa and how can we rate Africa in terms of are we making some great progress when it comes to achieving such global goals as Africa in particular, because this is now a house called Africa. So how is the order of things in Africa? We realize that still the order of things, it is a very dilapidated state, and things are yet to be very great. So that is why we have that obligation to focus on such areas of making sure that the sustainability part of our resources is taken care of, and we are very candid and frank speaking about the need of sustainable management of our resources, because these are resources that if you're not very keen, in future we are going to live in very difficult conditions. So we need to be very resource conscious, and how we use these resources in terms of how we utilize them in one way or the other, so that even the future generations can benefit from the same resources, and they may have some harmful time and some just interesting periods when that time comes for them. So Africa, still we live in limbo, because this is many of these things are not controlled, and also it comes around. It is very disheartening that sometimes even when you see the mismanagement and the imprudent use of these resources, sometimes even actually the leeway is given to these destroyers, and these people who come and misuse the resources. They've been given the latitude by some of the leaders in these African countries. So what do we do to be able to maybe counter check that, or be able to salvage that? What you need to do is to make sure that now, since most of the people in place, because somebody who is doing bad, then we need to make sure that we need to get someone who can do something better than what the other person is doing. So we need people who are coming up to understand that this is not good. Then we need to do something different apart from what is happening. Then that is how we can salvage Africa. That is how we can rescue the African immense resources, because Africa, indeed, we have the resources. If we utilize the resources, we'll be going very far, and everything is possible in Africa. So, fellow Africans, allow me to edit at that point, and let's meet tomorrow as we discuss about the living standards of our people in Africa, and have an interesting afternoon. Thank you.